And so thank you, everyone, and hello, everyone. So we have today a very special company and very special guests. We have Mariana Lacombe and Lorana Scarpioni. And so they are from Bliive, right? You pronounce it Bliive, right?
Yes.
So you spell it in a strange way, as all Silicon Valley and technology companies like to do it. So,
Yes.
but yes, the reason I like this company so much is because it is a platform. Not unlike Xculture. So it's not a company that makes shirts and sells them. It's a company that brings people together for the purpose of basically time exchange, right? So you have this very interesting concept. And so if it works, it can literally revolutionize how people collaborate. They sort of kind of reinvented the concept of money. And instead of dealing with the pieces of paper, they deal with hours time. So a very interesting concept. And so we had a webinar before where they talked more about the company and the idea behind the company. Maybe we'll repeat some of the key points here, but the main idea here is that the students have been working on this for a while now. And so they have some questions, they have some ideas. The company had received many questions online. I have received some questions. So the goal for today is sort of kind of intermediate feedback, checking where we stand, answering questions, so that the remaining 3 weeks that you students have, you can use this information to update and improve your proposals. And perhaps if it's okay with you, I will ask our company representatives to maybe one more time quickly summarize the idea, just in case we have someone who didn't have a chance to watch the original meeting, or if we have students from other teams that are working on a different challenge and so don't know much about the Bliive concept, so just so that they know what we're talking about here. So would you be able to tell us very quickly about the main idea behind the company?
Yeah, so Bliive is a platform where people trade skills using time as a currency. And the idea behind this mainly to acknowledge that sometimes people have a lot of value. They just don't have money to trade this value. So an economy based on abundance and based on the things that people sometimes don't see as shareable in the normal economy can still be at service or can be traded. So the way it works is very simple. You offer, for example, 1 hour of English lessons, and then for each you receive one-time credit, and then you can exchange this credit for any activity available in the platform, like financial tips, Photoshop tutorials, or someone to clean your house. And the idea is that everyone has a talent and everyone needs something. So matching these skills and needs, it's a way to promote this value exchange in society, when sometimes because of the scarcity economy, people got stuck in this lack of opportunities, into this lack of ways of receiving services and learning new things. And I think mainly the idea also behind Bliive is to promote a more human-based economy, human value-based, because the time is equal for everyone. So it doesn't matter if you are a PhD or if you are a cleaner. It's 1 hour, one-time credit. And this is very good because then everyone have the same common value. That is 1 hour, one-time credit. And this is not something that we want to negotiate. It's just like, okay, let's acknowledge that this is about this common shared value that we have, and let's help each other with things that we love and we don't care about sharing, because they are just the value that we want to add to society. So I believe that on the core idea is that to promote time exchange, an abundance-based economy, a love-based economy, and an equality-based economy. Where we stand for is also that the value of people needs to be seen in a different way, and Bliive can be the company as a mission and vision that rethink and rebuild this relationship with money, with time, and with collaborative work, and on the business side we can talk later, but that's the main vision, to be an organization that helps people to live new experiences and share 1 hour at a time.
There have been several questions by email about the specific concept. So one question was repeatedly asked, in fact, So you value time of anyone equally. So if, for example, someone provides high sort of, let's call it high value, I don't know, consulting or accounting services versus someone who provides maybe something of a lesser kind of technical level as, I don't know, maybe some conversational lessons in English, for example. So you still exchange it hour for hour, regardless of the kind of market price of those different skills, right?
Perfect. We do 1 hour, 1 hour. And right now, what we are trying to develop as a strategy, and this is a great way to approach these as a solution based for that, is that we are planning to create a score based on trust, quality, and commitment. Because these are three things that we realize over these years, that if you have a level of trust, the exchange can happen. So it needs to have trust. The second is that you need to have a level of commitment, which means response rate, being on the platform, being engaged. You need to be committed to exchange. And the third one is a level of quality. So prove that at least what you do, what you are offering has a little bit of quality, is delivering some value. So once you have a way to measure and score the level of trust, quality, and commitment, then we can match you with the same people with the same level of trust, quality, and commitment. So let's say that we work hard 8 hours a day to get a high salary, right? To then spend on an hour of a chef, a very famous chef. The idea is that I'm just like, I'm working hard in a high paid level job because I want to assess the hour of this high famous chef. But if I have a score of my trust, quality, and commitment and how good I am, maybe I can assess this high level also chef without any money. I don't need to spend 8 hours in this level, but I just need to prove that I'm good. So finding a way through a score of trust, quality, and commitment would be an amazing way to introduce this concept of, hey, money or salary is just important to create a level where people can meet and think it's fair, but this fairness can happen through different ways. So in the challenge, if any student wants to help us think about this concept of scoring trust, quality, and commitment, and how would you do that, would be very, very interesting, because I believe that is a way to show that even though the time credit is always 1 hour, one time credit, non-negotiable, the way that you perform in the platform, the value that you deliver, the quality you have can improve your access to better people, better opportunities. And if there's a way to plan on that or work, if anyone is interested, it's something that I really believe.
That makes perfect sense. Several people also asked what kind of services are the most popular on your website, and then both ends. So which ones are the most often offered, and then which ones are in the greatest demand?
So we don't see we don't have the difference between demand and like the ones requested and the ones offered, because right now we measure mainly the offers. But the first one is English conversations, and the second one is guitar lessons. So these are no exchanges that are often traded, okay, but because they also are common writing. So English lessons is easy to aggregate the English lessons because people write in the same way, or guitar lessons. But we know that even though these two groups are two exchanges are very common, we see two groups that are very strong in the platform. One is the health living, lifestyle, bartering, yoga, Reiki, massage, this lifestyle of taking care of yourself, being in touch with the spirit and being in touch with the body. And the other side is the entrepreneurial side of the users that want to take an idea out of paper, change careers, learn a new skill. So it's very, very career and project driven. So these are the two main groups. So even though guitar lessons and English are experiences that are being traded, as a group or as a type of exchanges, we see these two as bigger.
And I'd like just to add something about that, because as I explained before in the other webinar, we have the public platform. That's the platform that maybe the students are seeing. So you can join, everyone can join. But we also have the platform as a white label platform for companies. So, and this is one of the pieces of our business model. So within the white label platform, or the platform that's close to a specific company, then we also have specific exchanges that happen over there that are more common. So for example, we have one big platform right now. We have more than 600 people in this platform, and they have many different types of exchanges. But actually the most common right now is culture. So talking about the culture of the company. So everyone that employees that are working there for more years, they are offering this experience. So this is one of the experiences that they request the most. And the second one is a very technical experience to learn more about their ERP. So to learn more about their system, their management system. So depending on the platform of the company, they do have some common exchanges, but it's interesting to see that one is more related to the well-being, even in the public platform, but also in the corporate platform, like asking about the culture, what is the culture of the company, learning more about the values of the company. And then the other one is more entrepreneurial, it's more technical. So that's something also important for the students to know.
Another question that comes up all the time is, what is a typical profile of the user on your website? Is it primarily young people, or do you also see some older, more mature people? So where they come from, what kind of background they have, countries and things like that?
So we have 25 to 35 years old in the range. It's 50-50 between women and men, so this is good too. 49 women and 51 men. Even though the exchange rate for men is higher, because I think the exchange part sometimes women feel a little bit like new people and in this process, but I think it's very balanced on that. And yeah, and in terms of like we launched in Brazil, so 90% of our user base is still Brazilian. We have users in big cities and smaller cities, but the exchange happen more in big cities because there's more people that are from the platform there. So I think that's it. Mariana, there's anything else? Do you remember regarding the targets too?
No, I think in terms of the target, they're around 30, 35. So they're already mature in their professions, or they're seeking for a new career, or seeking for a new opportunity or a better lifestyle. And then also in companies, it's everyone within the company. So this is for the public platform. So again, for the white label platforms, this is very it's very different. So it depends on the company.
Got it. Also, I do have quite a few questions I see coming by email now, so I'm trying to group them by the topic, but I see we have, about 10 students here in the live audience. So those of you here, I see we have here Juan, Hamila, Marty, Mohammed, Paulina, Princey. So if you guys have questions, you can ask them two different ways. One, you can type your questions in the Q&A window. So you have literally a button at the bottom of your screen that says Q&A. And you can just type your questions there, we will see them. Or better yet, raise your hand. Again, you have a button that says, looks like a raised hand. And when you raise the hand, we will add you to the conversation. And so this way you will be able to engage and ask your questions directly. Also remember, this is a unique opportunity for you not only to ask questions, but also to present some ideas and get feedback. So you have been working on this challenge for a few weeks now. So if you have some suggestions, some proposals that you want to get feedback directly from the company on, so just simply raise your hand, share your ideas, and get feedback. Don't worry, don't be shy, and don't be afraid that somebody will steal your idea. The quality and the value of the feedback you can get is much, much higher than the threat that some other team will hear your brilliant idea, will copy it, and take credit for it. So I wouldn't worry. I would definitely use this opportunity. Meanwhile, I'm going question by question, then or topic by topic. Geography. So obviously the concept is scalable, and I assume you can expand to the entire planet as long as there are users, right? Or are you trying to limit your concept to some countries initially? And if you're planning to grow geographically, what are the countries that you are most interested in?
Well, we actually want to. Lohana, you're saying? Okay. No, just wanted to explain that we actually want to scale.
Go for it, Maddie. Go for it.
Okay. So we really want to scale the platform to different countries. We come from Brazil, so for that being said, we are also very interested in working with different emerging markets, because we do know that we are very needed, and we also have the structure so people have more access to mobile phones, to internet, and this is important. But we are also very interested in working with frontier economies like Africa, countries in Africa. That will be very interesting as well. Now, we just moved to the US, so we just incorporated in the US. So we would love to have more information about the American market. And I know that you guys have many students in the US, so it will be very, very interesting for us to receive some feedback about the American market. Actually, Lohana and her team were in Scotland for almost 2 years, so they do know more about the European market. And of course, Latin America is very familiar to us. So United States will be very, very interesting, and other big emerging markets too.
Can you please, so let's talk a little bit about the students and how they can help. So you said, for example, you would like to learn more about the United States market, I assume other countries. So let's think together, or maybe you tell us what exactly the students should focus on. I have read many reports from students, and I know that some stuff they present is very, very useful, and some things may be in fact completely useless. Like, for example, I know that some teams, when they describe the country, they just simply not really copy and paste the Wikipedia article, but they talk about all kinds of things like the political structure and, you know, the election cycle and the main religion and things like that. I mean, it's interesting to research, but I don't think that's something you need. So the question then is, so you have several hundred students working in your challenge. So basically several hundred students who are trying to help you, almost like your employees that are trying to be as useful as possible. So what do you think they should focus on to make the products, the proposals that they will come up with most interesting for you? Like, for example, should they just simply describe the market and think about the best way to promote the product? Should they try to do some survey of potential users, like maybe talk to their friends and try to understand why or why not they would be using a platform like this? Should they give you advice about, you know, marketing strategy, about something else? What is most interesting to you as a in this case, almost an employer?
Yeah. Lohana, go ahead.
So I think there's three things that are very, very keen for us to know. That is like marketing strategy, partnerships, and sales strategy. So like understanding one, if how we are going to sell, like as our business model growing there, how like from a perspective of sales, how are we capturing a size of this market, where like how HR departments or universities or like other clients would work in this country. The second one is marketing. So how we enter this country, how like are we addressing like what their needs and their pain points. How can we really engage in this conversation from a PR perspective or is online marketing where these people are at. And then the partnerships one, so how to grow our user base as a partnership side. And I think in each one of the countries, what Mariana said about like technology usage. So are people really in tech? Or do we really use apps to trade something? How much the internet or the apps are present in the daily life? Which services these people are more interested in, or like the economy. So this side of collaborative economy. And another point is that the time banks, they exist since the 80s. Okay, so the idea from Bliive, it's a new idea because we brought this to an online platform, and now it's becoming an online ecosystem. But the time banks, they are something that some people say started in Japan, others in Italy, but it grew around the world. So just understanding how the time banks, if there's any time bank in this country, work it's very good too, because I think the time banks offline, they give a lot of knowledge about the experience that we can have on the online time bank. So if you can search about time banks, it's a way to understand a lot about the culture around collaboration in these new countries.
Several students actually did ask about the competition. So who is your competition? The product is so unique that I personally wouldn't even know what to Google for to find other companies like this. Can you give us a few examples of your competitors?
Mari, do you want to mention?
No.
I
Yeah, it froze. So yeah, so we actually have a slide about this, and I spoke a little bit about that too in the previous webinar. So right now, it's a bit, we know some companies that have been doing time banking, but they do not have our business model. So they, one of them has a software, for example, that you have to download. The other one is specifically for the UK, so it's not a global platform. But none of them actually provide a white label platform. So we have companies who are our clients, and this is one of our revenue streams that partner with Bliive, and then they use Bliive as a closed platform for them to use. And this is something interesting for us to understand more about how it would operate in different countries. So what will be easier, I think, in this situation is I can share specifically what we have so far, but there are other platforms that may be sort of a competition for us, maybe TaskRabbit, where you can have people to help you, but then you have to pay some money. But other sharing economy platforms. What else, Lo, do you think? You had a meeting like...
I believe it. Yeah, for me, I feel like there's also two main competitors in terms of like employee engagement platforms or employee collaboration platforms. So platforms that are trying to help employees to engage and create more of a collaborative sense, And another level of competition now, it is the matchmaking platforms. So there's a few platforms, like there's one called Sensei, I think AI, but they are artificial intelligence based plot queues, not using time as a currency. As Mariana said, this is something very like that we are doing. We are envisioning using AI to match people skills and needs, but I feel like it's happening. A lot of people using artificial intelligence chatbots to say, hey, what do you need? Oh, what do you offer? And match people. So these would be one type of competitors. The others, employee engagement platforms. And then the third is what Mariana said, very related to how you get skills, how do you learn new things or receive service on the sharing economy, peer-to-peer platforms, all that.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. There is a question from one of our attendees here. So he or she, for some reason, it's an anonymous question. The question is, if they wanted to approach universities about potential collaboration with Bliive, what would be your collaboration policies? So basically, what do they need to know before they approach any organizations that could potentially be your partners in the target market?
That's a great question, because this is something that we're very interested in doing. We really want to validate our platform in universities. So we are currently in contact with Cornell here in the US, and UNB, which is the University of Brasilia in Brazil, to provide Bliive to a specific department. So this is something that we really want to do. We have to discuss to see what's the possibility of partnering with this university, but we would be open to provide Bliive for universities specifically, okay, because universities are partners for us, to provide Bliive for some months for free so that they can test it, and then we can create a commercial proposal for universities, so that we can expand and then work with not only the students, but also the professors and the employees. We have a proposal for that, and that's one of the reasons why we also like X-Culture, because it allows us to connect with multiple universities and also companies, and we are really willing to continue the conversation after that to be able to bring Bliive to universities too.
It may be also a good idea, I guess, if any of the students have a university in mind, perhaps maybe contact you directly first and basically work in collaboration with you before they approach the school. And,
yes. Also, Vas.
Yes, it can be these applied for universities or for companies too. So companies that someone on the HR or innovation or someone
marketing
is interested or would be interested on having the platform. So both we are open to provide some material or help if there's a opportunity with partnershiping with universities or doing some business opportunities with companies.
Yeah. And Vas, so for that reason also, we've been receiving many messages through Facebook and our help desk ticket in our platform of students asking questions, and sometimes this is not the proper way to get in contact with us. So I would like to share my email so that the students can have access to us, if this is okay. I don't know.
Yes, in fact, for us, that's the biggest question. So what is the best way to contact the company? Some companies prefer not to share their contacts because, you know, with so many students working on the platform, on the challenge, you may literally be overwhelmed with questions and, emails. On the other hand, if you give them a chance to talk to you directly, you kind of get better quality work. So it's essentially, as I said, they are not quite your employees, but they're trying to help you, and so it would be foolish not to communicate with them and let them sort of waste their time rather than be more focused.
I would love to. I was an X-Culture student, so I would love to have the sense.
Yeah, Marty had a question here. Marty, you have a very good question, so I added you to the panelist list. If you want to maybe go ahead and ask it directly, so this way I will not misinterpret it.
Awesome question.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
Marta, can you ask your question directly and then just explain in your own words, and then let's see what the company says.
Can you hear me?
For some reason, yeah, we hear you. Go ahead, please.
Okay. I'd actually prefer if you read it, since I am at the office right now.
Okay. Do you want me to read it? Okay.
Please.
Okay. So I see this platform like a cross between Craigslist and Uber applications. Can users post their individual needs, abilities like Craigslist, with time as a currency, obviously? Is a rating system like Uber something you want to gravitate toward? What is the plan for availability displays? Additionally, what are the primary methods of security of information and physical security of users? Academic dishonesty prevention. So you have many questions here, but they're really nice. So you're asking about our approach. You're going to the right direction for sure, because Craigslist and Uber, they are two companies that belong to the sharing economy. So they recreated the way that we connect with people and share the resources that we have available. So Uber is actually the biggest company in the sharing economy today. So we are always, when we are creating the platform, in the technology side, we are always studying pieces of different platforms to add to our solution, because there's no one actually doing what we are doing. So Uber is definitely one of the companies. Craigslist is definitely one of the companies. So right now at this point, in Bliive, individual users and also companies can post their abilities. So they can post their experiences, what they want to offer. Right now, we are working on an update of the platform where people will be able to post their needs. So I have many things to offer, but right now you'll be able to also post your needs, what the kind of support that you want, what's the kind of exchange that you want, and then we are going to work on the match. So we are going to be using, of course, machine learning for that, so that our platform can match you with a perfect person to be able to help you, right? So that's the first part of your question. Right? Okay. So, and the rating system is definitely like Uber. So just kind of a combination of many things to be able to give you the rating. So when you use Uber, you have many different ways for you to rate that person, but also the company on their side, they are also measuring your performance, such as your response rate, how many times you've canceled the rides, if you're not receiving any complaints, or if you have a new car, if your car is clean. So there are many different requirements that Uber understood that they are important to say you are a great driver, or you are a great user, because they are now also measuring the user. So that's what we want to come up with, as Lohana was saying. So trust, quality, and commitment, they're the three key performance measurements, let's say, that we want to measure to be able to come up with a rating. Another an interesting example that we thought about is LinkedIn. So if you think about LinkedIn, now you have a rating for the user. So they let the user know everything that they have to do to be able to have 100% rating. So, well, if you have a complete profile, if you're sending messages, if you're posting, like so many things. So this is also another idea, right? So this is the second question. So is everything all right so far? Lohana, do you want to add something? We can't hear you.
It seems like we lost the sound.
Okay, you're back.
No?
Yes, you're back.
Can you hear me?
Is
Yes.
this better?
Yes, I am.
Sorry.
Awesome.
No, yeah, you're
So,
doing great. I'm trying to absorb everything.
Awesome. So regarding also the trust, quality, and commitment process, I think when researching countries to enter, understanding how can we check users in these countries, it's very interesting too. Because, for example, in the US, we are planning to implement SMS, so receive a text message to check if the user is a real user, and then they put the code on. In Brazil, it was just email verification, which was a little bit short, like not really effective. So we were thinking about taking a photo of your security number. So it's like a social security number. But what are the regulations, and how can we do that as a platform in the countries that we are entering, or what is the best way to recognize and check the users? I think it's a great question to answer, and that we would love to understand how to do it better in each.
Yeah.
All right, so we have more questions there. So not sure, Mariana, do you want to say anything else to Marta's question, or should we move on to the next one?
Yeah, I'd like to piggyback off that if I can. you mentioned taking a social security number of users. I don't believe that's required for Uber, Craigslist, LinkedIn.
No.
And so my follow-up question was about security, physical security of users, since they're working one-on-one generally, typically, in my understanding, but also the informational security. If you're going to be collecting information like this, that would be a concern of many users.
Different country. Yeah, so in this point, like for example,
I think she froze, right?
photo of you take a photo of your
Yeah,
passport.
it seems like the connection is pretty weak.
And
Yeah.
these sometimes you lost a lot of. Oh, it's cutting.
Yes.
Was it good?
Yeah, can you start over?
Can you hear me well? Okay, awesome. Okay, so I was just mentioning, like for example, it is a very good point, because some users like they feel more confident because, like for example, Airbnb asks for the passport, but a lot of users just drop and they don't want to share this like sensitive information, which is totally like understandable. So for us, it depends on the culture, but in terms of technology, like the data protection, we have like our own servers. Now we are planning to use blockchain technology also to protect like the transactions, the way that we transact the time credits to be collaborative. So in using the data, I think it's very secure, but like asking the users to provide this data, knowing if this is really strategic or something that will pull them away, or in fact invite them to be more in the platform because they know that everyone is there, is check it. It's something that we still don't have an answer of, like is it bad or not, because we see a few platforms that do in different ways. Even Craigslist, before a post you need to check, like confirm with your email. But the easiest way, the most flowing way with security is what we are looking for.
I think it depends on the country too, right? So in the US, I don't know, maybe a combination of cell phone and email. In Brazil, definitely a document. So I think that maybe that's a research, doing some benchmarking to see how we can validate. And it's just very important to remember that we are dealing with what we see as the most valuable resource that people have. So every time you're exchanging something, your time, and you gain a credit for that, we need to make sure that this person is real, because we are creating another identity for the person. We've been discussing a lot, many different times, about the unbanked. So how difficult it is to have a banking identity. So Bliive is definitely a solution for that. I actually just did an exchange earlier today with a person, and she was teaching me how to improve my voice. So I found this exchange, and I'm like, oh, this is so awesome. Let me just have this exchange.
So to improve your voice for singing or for public speaking?
No, just for speaking, because I speak a lot. And then, for example, if I'm here giving you a lecture for an hour or two, I may start to lose my voice. So I saw this.
Did you like the training?
I love it. It was amazing. It was awesome.
Can you maybe email me the name of that person? That's something I actually have been interested in doing for a long time, because we talk for a living.
Yeah, me too.
To project the voice correctly is kind of an important skill.
Yes, so that was awesome. So I was asking her, so how long have you been using Bliive? And she told me that she's been using Bliive for 2 years. And I was like, oh, so how did you find out? And she told me that she was actually unemployed, and it was very difficult for her to find a new job. So she needed some help to review her resume, to create a presentation, to learn some interview skills. And she didn't have no money. Like, she didn't have money at all. So Bliive was definitely a way for her to live for many months. And now she keeps offering her exchanges in order for her to have some credits to be using them with something else. And actually, she was the one actually getting in contact with me, because one of the exchanges that I offer is how to get the job that you really love. So, and then she's like, oh, I need your help. But I saw that she needed something that she offered something that I needed. So just to give an example, because this is very serious. Imagine if this person doesn't have a safe way to make those exchanges and counting on the credits to do whatever she needs to do. So that's something.
Makes sense.
That's why we really need to validate the identity. It's as if you have a wallet. Just imagine like Apple Wallet or a credit card. We definitely need to validate that.
There are two interesting questions by email, if I can ask them. So one of them, in fact, several students asked that question, the sources of your revenue. So if people exchange time only, where does the money come from?
Okay.
Mari, you can answer this one.
Okay, so we have three business models, right? We have one B2C business model, so business to consumer business model, which is our public platform. The one that you guys can have access to, you all can log in, and currently this platform is free, right? In the future, when we reach 2 million users, we are going to offer also a premium membership. What does this mean? We have very heavy users within the platform. We have users that have exchanged more than 100 times. So they do see a lot of value in the exchanges within the platform, and they would be willing to pay a very small fee to have access to specific features. And we are working on these features. So this is one of the ways that we will be launching soon. Now, what's very important for you to know is that we have two B2B business models. So two business to business models, revenue models. One of them is the white label platform. So we create a closed platform, a private platform for companies. So we've had Unilever, for example, that created a closed platform only for moms and dads. And that was the theme of the platform. So they paid us a setup fee to create the platform for them, and then a recurring fee per month based on the amount of users that they invite to this platform. We have CPM assurances too with this platform, the paid platform. And then now we are also discussing with a company, we can't disclose the name right now, but this company has 100,000 employees in the world. It's a huge company. So we've been talking about this with many different companies too. So in this situation, we are contacted by human resources department or marketing department wanting to have a better way for employees to collaborate. So this is a very, very important way for us to add value to companies too, because I mean, I was a human resources director for 15 years, and Bliive is a key way for them to know exactly what people love to do, what are their skills, what they would love to share, and also what they need. And then from there, we do the matching. So within the organization, employees can start exchanging among them, and without the company having to outsource training, coaching, consulting. Most of the times they do already have the knowledge within the company. So CPM assurances, I think they completed more than 300 exchanges right now, right now, after 5 months of contract with us. So, and we also provide data for the company to say, for example, what are the exchanges that are the most requested, the most offered, the leaders that have more employees exchanging, the leaders that have less employees exchanging. So we do have so many different things to say. The departments that are more engaged, the departments that are less engaged. So this is important, okay? So this is a revenue model that has actually been sustaining the company, and that's why we're also profitable. And then the second B2B business model is the one that we are still launching it. So we are working on it, which is a widget. So it's a web widget, such as, for example, if you log in on Facebook and then you see the messenger or that chat that you can see, or a bot, that's what we are creating. So with this API, this is an API in technology. So with this widget, we will be able to plug Bliive in existing platforms, such as Salesforce, for example. So every Salesforce client that adds our API will be able to have Bliive as a widget, as a small box on the side where people can start exchanging or adding their experiences as if they are using our platform. So that's a great way for companies that already have a platform that people use every single day to add Bliive, to add the value of Bliive without having to go within our platform and exchange. So this is a business model that we are currently working on very hard, and we are very excited about that. So briefly, so those are the three main revenue models that we have. Okay.
Yeah, and I believe that regarding the these three business models, the strategy for the widget is the one that we are it's more new to us. We still don't have a so clear strategy, but it's we are targeting, for example, also platforms that already have a lot of users. Like, for example, you get some platforms for e-learning, like Udemy, Coursera, or other e-learning platforms. So this is very, very interesting because they already have a community of people. They are just not trading time in that community. Even though people are talented, they have complementary skills. So how can we match these needs and opportunities to give, and using this widget? And the idea of the web widget is also to use the AI in there. So being a chatbot conversation where you say, hey, do you want to trade time with the students of your university? Okay, so tell what you offer. I've just matched you with Marcos that lives 3 blocks away from you. So this kind of intelligence that is matching skills and making people help each other within communities that already have engagement, it's great. But we really want to know what is the value proposition that we are delivering for these companies that are using the widget, so they will be able to open up a 2 million user base for us to attach our widget there. Because in the small platforms we can charge and they pay, but what we are looking for with the widget is also to bring our technology to millions of people in platforms that already have users engaged. So we save so much in marketing and other strategies, but how to approach these people, how to convince these platforms where to reach out, it's something very, very keen to us. And on the B2B side, on the communities, as Mariana said, there are private communities where the employees just see each other's, but we also have open communities. The companies or brands can they can just be invited, and they create an open community for time exchange. For example, as Mariana said, with Baby Dove from Unilever, it was an open community for moms and dads that wants to trade things related to having a baby for the first time. So this is a marketing, not just an HR solution, but also a marketing solution to build communities related to time exchange. Sunsilk, for example, they created a women empowerment one with us. So it was related to women, helping women to thrive and to be a support network using time exchange. So the communities, they can be private, they can be public communities, and they also can be inside other platforms via widget. I think these are the main points. And the other cool part is that also we want to, part of our product is to connect these companies and people with NGOs. So let's imagine that you have something to offer and no one is asking and you still need time credits. So you can volunteer in an NGO that is part of our ecosystem and you get time credits for it. So it's a way to inject time credits in the platform, give opportunities for people to get more time credits, and help the NGOs to get more volunteers. So NGOs, they are partners, but they are a key value proposition social responsibility company departments, a lot of people that wants to connect social causes with employees, and they don't know how. Also mentoring platforms. So anyways, there's a lot of opportunities in this field, and these three business models are the main thing, like premium membership for high engagement users, and thinking about which premium features we could offer as a premium membership model could be very interesting too, if you want to like explore more of the premium membership model. So what is premium, what is the price range that users will be willing to pay for becoming a premium, to validate that and get to understand this is one point. But on the B2B side, there's a lot of opportunities with universities, companies, NGOs, and huge platforms that would use our widget as a partner.
Mhm. One more question. We are almost out of time. We always try to stay within about 45 minutes, but there is one more question that students keep asking. So you always talk about marketing and promotion. So what do you do at this time? How do you promote the service at this time? Do you advertise on social media? Do you rely on the word of mouth? So what do you do to promote the platform currently?
So right now we are in this phase where we are not promoting. It's almost like we were raising investment in the US, exchanging the platform. We're rebranding. Mariana will send the new assets for the new brand too, because the branding that you are seeing in the platform right now is not the new branding. So we have some.
I sent the branding already for Vas, so you can
Oh,
share with
that's awesome.
students. Yes.
Yeah. So
Yes, I will actually share that right away. So yeah.
that's awesome. So we have this new branding, new illustrations. So we are planning some marketing, like a lot of marketing campaign. But this is something that we also want to hear from you, your ideas. So I think it's more on that. But how we got the 180,000 users, it was all organics. So because we never had so much investment as now, we always relied on word of mouth and organic coverage. So we got a lot of media attention from like websites like Forbes, BBC. In Brazil, we were in the cover of like entrepreneurial magazines. We won a few prizes too, which help with this organic media because people cover too. But the main strategy was just PR and not like very organic PR. So that's why we are so excited to hear the works that you are planning to do, because I think the marketing strategy for us is something very new that we never had. I think we were very blessed to have such a pleasant idea that it makes people curious and make them cover. But having a strategy beyond that, I think it's the time for it, and we are very excited to hear.
Makes perfect sense, yes. All right, so I think I've gone through all of the questions that we got by email, and I don't see any questions from the audience. One question that comes up most of the time is, do you ever regret getting into basically starting your own business? Do you ever wish that you just had a job from 8 till 5 instead? And then what advice would you give to students who would like to start their own business? What should they focus on to increase their chances of a successful startup launch when they graduate?
Okay, that's a great question. It's very beautiful that people have this I think this willingness to know that, and I believe that no, I don't regret. And I think I've been doing this Bliive for 6 years and something. So I started in university, the platform. Mariana is also an entrepreneur, so she can speak a little bit about. But on my end, I think there was a lot of hard times since I started Bliive. There were moments where I was like, okay, this is harder than I expected, and it will not be easiest that you expect, but I never thought it's harder than the payoff. And the payoff, I say, sometimes the money payoff there's none, but the payoff of how much you grow as a person, as an individual, as the cool part about entrepreneurship or doing your own startup is that you need to deal with so many different sides of yourself, as a leader, as someone that adjusts the financial side. You need to deal with people, partnerships. You need to be creative. You also need to be organized. So you are in touch with so many layers of yourself that because you are so passionate about something, they are trying to do the best, but they are like seeing the limitations, and you need to work on them. So I feel like any job or even student experience will not give the growth and the experience that you have when you really need to be there, because if you are not, no one is doing for you, you know. So it's your company and your passion, and this makes you understand more about yourself and about human beings too, because that's the thing, building a business, it is dealing with other human beings. And when you are able to like experience so much in such a intensive way, you just get, if you don't have a successful company, you still have so much value from the experiencing of being an entrepreneur, you know. So I would not say like quit your job and start being an entrepreneur if you are not really passionate about an idea, because if there's no passion, if it's just about making money or being an entrepreneur because you think it's cool, it's not gonna work, you know. But if you are passionate about something enough to give your best, I think even if this something doesn't work, it will be amazing. It will make you a better human being. It will make you face and grow and create, you know. And that's, I think, the spirit of the innovation and the generation that we have so much tools today to create with internet and with search and collaborating with diverse teams globally like you are doing. So you are getting the skills of like creating a global business even with X culture, and practicing these starting a business it's something amazing, I believe. But yeah, I get very passionate when I talk about that. But
Makes total sense. Absolutely. Yeah.
Just
I
because it
definitely
is.
agree with those advice.
Welcome.
All right. Well, so as discussed, then I will share the recording of this meeting with those who could not attend live. And thank you so much. So we had about 12 people who were watching us live. So thank you so much for joining us here. And so I assume if they have questions, they can contact you directly. And so I have your permission to share Mariana's email address. Would that be the best way? Right?
Yes, you can do that.
Okay, yes, so I will be sending that information about the new team company identity, and I will include your contacts then so students can contact you directly. All right, well then for the next 3 weeks, the students will be finishing up their proposals, and I'm curious to see what they come up with, and I truly hope that there will be some interesting leads and ideas there. So,
Awesome.
thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
you.
you,
Awesome.
everyone.
Thank you very much.